This is the background reading on gold and railroads, part of the invasion unit in which we answer the question, what drives change? This section will focus on money. Introduction. The early to mid 19th century presented many chances to become rich, or at least that's what people hoped. New land meant the prospect of prosperity. The discovery of gold in California brought thousands of miners toward the Pacific coast. To transport people across the expanding nation, workers flocked to build the first railroad across the continent. The Gold Rush. California, part of the Mexican Cession negotiated after the Mexican-American War, came into American possession after the conflict. Until the middle of the 19th century, very few white settlers lived in California. That changed rapidly after the discovery of gold along the American River in 1848. News of the find spread quickly, especially after more gold was found in other parts of California, leading to a gold rush. Young men from across the country risked everything to travel to California in search of their share of the riches. These 49ers, so called because most of them set out in 1849, found the experience to be difficult and disappointing. The massive number of miners flooding California led to incredibly high prices for basic supplies, and very few actually found sizable amounts of gold. As a result, of the 250,000 miners who made their way to California, very few became rich. But the gold rush did help establish San Francisco as a major port city and bring enough people to California that it would soon become a state. The Transcontinental Railroad. The rapid growth of the United States presented a new need to connect the nation quickly and efficiently. Plodding along the Oregon Trail or resorting to sailing all the way around South America simply took too long and cost too much. Beginning in 1863, two companies and thousands of workers undertook the enormous task of constructing a transcontinental railroad. The Union Pacific Company started a rail line in Nebraska and headed west, while the Central Pacific Company began in California and built eastward. The U.S. government lent the companies money and gave them land in order to accomplish the feat. The two rails finally met at Promontory Point, Utah in 1869, thus allowing people and freight to traverse the entire country in a fraction of the time and at a fraction of the cost. Immigration. Construction of the Transcontinental Railroad created thousands of jobs and attracted workers from across the globe, particularly Ireland and China. Railroad companies often saved the most difficult and dangerous jobs for these immigrants, paying them very little in return. At one point, a group of Chinese laborers refused to work without a pay raise. The Central Pacific Company withheld their food supply until they gave in. Like the 49ers before them, the thousands of immigrants who headed west in search of riches found themselves poor and overworked.